Let's go to Joy Reid. She's got it in her name, joyful. Let's see what she has to say. She's very concerned about Alligator Alcatraz, and here's why.
We tried to forget about him, but Ron DeSantis is still governor of Florida. He took the Comfy Couch hosts on a tour of the concentration camp that he's building in Florida in order to round up brown people, and throw them in a camp because he doesn't want them in Florida. Surprise, surprise, the economy of Florida is going to be severely harmed by rounding up brown people who, by the way, all over this country, Latinos are afraid to go to work. Anybody who is perceived or looks Latino is afraid to go to work. I know people who are not Latino, but they're brown, and so they look Latino to the naked eye, if you don't know any better, who are walking around with their passports, who never leave home without a passport.
I have Latinos working for me. They're good. They're fine. They're not worried at all. Everything's business as usual. Who does she know? Is she hanging out with a bunch of illegals who have committed crimes? Because that's really who's on the top of Tom Homan's priority lists too.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's such an interesting way that they just will take entire groups of people and talk for them. They're always speaking for everyone else. Apparently, all brown people have the same opinion. It's odd because I just went through all the new election polls from the election voter survey that just came out this week. Donald Trump won Latino men.
Yeah, they're in favor of Trump, and they're in favor of these policies.
They're in favor of these policies. You know why? Because Latino men are like other men and like other women. They believe in the rule of law. They actually don't want people. They don't want a society that is run by corruption. They don't want society that is run by ignoring laws of favored groups. Many of them are here because they fled a nation that was applying those types of policies to them. People like the United States attracts people. And the reason that it does that is at least the hope that we're going to treat people fairly and not think of them as, brown people, to quote Joy Reid. The people that are going into this facility are not brown people, they aren't random Latino people who are just being rounded up on the streets. They are people who have committed crimes, and that's on top, largely, as you point out with Tom Homan's priorities, on top of the crime that they committed by just being here in the first place illegally.
The worst first. That's what Homan keeps saying. Yeah. Worst first.
Yeah, exactly. And look, we've got a big problem there. It's going to take a while to deal with that. And the administration's tried to be upfront with people to say, like, look, if you came here, and I have some sympathy for this, actually, Megyn, because for a very long time in our country, we treated crossing the border illegally sort of like an understandable speeding violation, right?
True.
Hey, I know it's
Democrats
set at 20 miles an hour.
Alike.
Democrats and Republicans alike. And we said, I know we put a sign up that says 20, but if you're going 35, it's not going to be a big deal. We communicated that. We had a party in the United States. Joe Biden was on stage saying, we want you here. We invite you here. And so I have some sympathy for people who said, well, they don't seem to really mean this. And some people did come and did not commit additional crimes and did live what we would say is a relatively normal life. That doesn't make it okay. The fact that you committed a crime by crossing the border and that we decided not to enforce, and you did it for a very long time, does not make you immune to this crime, being addressed. The administration has been very upfront with those people and said, we're not coming for you first. You're not our priority, number one. Number two, if you really want to be part of this country, if you really do respect this nation, if you really want to be here as part of the melting pot that is America, understand what the process needs to be. You may have made a mistake before. We're going to give you an opportunity to go back to your home and come back through the front door the proper way. I'm a big believer that the people that do that oftentimes make our country much, much better. The people who come here legally do incredible things. They might even appreciate this nation more than a lot of the citizens do. I put Joy Reid in that particular category. So go back and come back in the front way. No, it's not hard to beat her. Come back in.
Who is Joy Reid's number one guest while she had her show on NBC? Her favorite guest is the only person I can think of who is as racist as she is. He absolutely hates white people, in my opinion, and so does she. It's Elie Mystal, who is a correspondent for The Nation. He's still at it. So let me just give you a flavor of what he was saying after this time last week when we got those Supreme Court rulings, including the one stopping the nationwide injunction thing by the federal district court judges. Here's his take. Her favorite guest, MSNBC, which has no ratings anymore. And this is why. Watch.
Walk me through why you see this ruling as deeply dangerous, not for people who are birthright citizens, but much more broadly for every American.
Imagine Donald Trump wants to do something illegal to you, Elie Mystal. Imagine that he wants to murder you. Imagine that he and Stephen Miller release an entire policy explaining about how they can murder Canadian journalists who are working in America because they're taking the jobs from real American journalists, right? So he's going to murder you. So you, Elie Mystal, you go to court. You go to court in the Southern District of New York and you say, like, I don't think this murder thing is constitutional. It's clearly illegal. And the court says, you're right, Elie Mystal. There's no way Donald Trump is allowed to murder you. We're going to have an injunction. We're going to stay the executive order saying that he's going to murder Canadian journalists. And so you're like, great, awesome. And you go home. And then Pat Kiernan shows up and he's like, what about me? I'm also a Canadian. Ashley Banfield shows up. She's, I'm also a Canadian. What about me? And the court's, well, I can't help you because Elie Mystal is the one who's sued. So Pat Kiernan, if you don't want to be murdered, you have to launch your entire own lawsuit in the Southern District of New York again to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't murder you. And while the Supreme Court is deciding who the Elie Mystal can't be murdered injunction applies to, guess what? Donald Trump starts murdering people.
That makes it very clear.
Very clear.
How about Elie Mystal? Yeah, I got totally get it. This is very helpful, Elie Mystal. Trump, he wants to murder me, obviously, and this all makes perfect sense. There's nothing inappropriate about this analogy.
No, not at all. Especially when we're talking about a guy that I saw get shot on stage. I don't know if anyone remembers this.
Right.
You know, it's so laughable and just
They're
disgusting.
so crazy, Stu.
Yes, and I don't. You know, I think this is part of what happens. This behavior just gets incentivized. It's like the person, I assume this person exists. I never see them on television, but there's probably a sensible Democrat that could come out and say, you know, this probably has gotten a little bit out of control. Like, you know, the fact that like every local court is trying to block nationwide policy here. That is a real
Dan
problem.
Turrentine would say that. He's a voice of reason on two-way.
There are a few. There are a few that most of them don't get booked, I will say, on television all that often or not enough. You know, this is something that the Supreme Court has been complaining about for a while. This isn't just some new thing under Donald Trump. I mean, this has been a situation where it's gotten out of control. Everyone wants to be the superstar. They want to be the person who has this big they want to be the person who stand up and I stopped Donald Trump. I had this big injunction. I'm the one that was responsible for that. That's not the way the system's supposed to operate. But
the lefties hated the nationwide injunctions when Obama was president, when Biden was president. You know, I celebrated the nationwide injunction under Title IX. I admitted that when this case first got percolated up. I loved it. Doesn't mean it has to be allowed in perpetuity or that it's totally appropriate. So whatever, it's been struck down. It's going to help both Democrat and Republican presidents. It has expanded the power of the presidency. And I don't disagree with Charlie Cook that the Congress may want to take a good, long, hard look at whether we want an executive that empowered. I personally don't. I like a smaller presidency. The problem is that Congress is full of, not all, but it's full of a lot of idiots. So no one's really looking to see them assert their rights over the executive, because right now this executive has been very, very helpful in restoring order. But I'm cognizant of the fact that he won't be in there forever, and we don't know what we're going to get next. Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they are moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. And Birch was an advertiser on this show 12 months ago. If you had purchased then, you'd be 40% richer today. Now's the time. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by burying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold so easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898, and Birch Gold is going to send you a free info kit on gold. Look into it. See if it's right for you. There's no obligation, just useful information to help you make a decision. With an A+ rating, with a Better Business Bureau, and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.